Welcome back. Another aspect of social media explored at the summit was its ability to impact society at large. Many of the panelists emphasized online activism during some of the seminars.
If you look at the universe of people who have tried to make money, raise money using social media, the vast majority of those attempts were horrible. And the ones that were really well thought out and very well designed worked quite well.
I think the real impact ultimately that can be made is when you use these tools to save life. And one example that we were able to share, there was a story of a young boy in Africa who was suffering from a debilitating disease, and a charity on the ground there really didn't have the resources available to them to help him. So they turned to first a blog. They wrote a blog piece, and it got picked up by another charity in the area. The president of that charity went to social media and their Facebook, and they started sending out messages to their followers, tweeting it out to whoever would follow, ultimately reaching people here back in the US that heard about that story. And that group that they coalesced around this issue ended up raising enough money to help this boy. They brought him to the US, they provided him with the medical care that he needed, and ultimately saved his life.
As people become engaged with your cause, I think there are different roles that they all take. There are some people who are doers, and you have to find a way to keep those doers active. They've got to have things to do all the time, or else they start to drop off. There's some people who you don't want to kill with overload of information, so you have to figure out when to hit them.
There's research that shows if you diverted 20% of your media advertising, your TV budget for advertising into online, you double the performance of your ad campaign. So that's 20% equals 100%. That's new math, and it's not math that we're comfortable with, and it's a huge advantage.
I want to start off with basically what you started off with today at the panel, where you said the word slacktivism. You found that personally offensive, and I was wondering if you could maybe elaborate further on it, why that word, I guess, particularly bothers you?
Yeah, sure. So I definitely feel that when people characterize slacktivism for what people do in online advocacy, they're making the assumption that basically all they're doing is clicking a button, and therefore what they're doing has no meaning, no value, no reason to pay attention to it. It facilitates an opportunity for members of Congress who are getting email and getting comments via social media from activists to dismiss it out of hand, which means that it's encouraging congressional offices to deny people their First Amendment right of free speech and the right to petition the government with grievances. I find that to be morally reprehensible.
Given the strong focus around activism, I felt the need to ask some of the panelists their thoughts on a controversial Malcolm Gladwell article from last year that was not very bullish on social media activism.
I think Malcolm Gladwell clearly missed the boat on his article. Think about this, the civil rights movement. There were people protesting en masse all over the country.
I think that they can have awareness of this problem, whether it's a revolution in Egypt or some other crisis that they could be involved in, or they could have no awareness at all. These technologies are opportunity structures, right, that are used by people who are motivated to act and to get to organize and to get in front of other people in order to do something about it.
On its base, I don't think the argument he makes about what stronger ties and weaker ties mean is incorrect. I think they are correct. But when you look at any kind of relationship, there's kind of a breadth and a depth to your relationship. And over time, people talk, they learn more, they get more involved, they get more engaged. And that normally, if you're really going to approach that level of a true friendship, involves an in-person meeting at some point. So, I mean, there are different stages of that fit in.
In any given city, the odds that everybody in a crowd knew each other and had those strong ties with each other is nil. The fact that people in different cities knew each other, even less likely. And yet that was a true social movement that changed American policy and was built on a combination of strong ties and weak ties. I think that social media and social networking allows us the opportunity to actually strengthen the ties that exist between people who share a common interest across geographical distances that was unable to be done during the civil rights movement and in the anti-war movement.
Now, does that mean that just because people are engaging in clicktivism or saying I like this thing and not that somehow these technologies are actually hurting the situation? Absolutely not. If anything, it's increasing awareness of the issues at stake, and it's providing more opportunities for people who are motivated intrinsically to do something to actually become aware and go out and do something.
One interesting real-world application of online activism was undertaken on Saturday by blogger Asher Huey, who wanted to send a message to D.C. Mayor Vince Gray, who was at AU for the event.
He's at a different conference here at AU, so if we could all take a moment to tweet, "Hey, Mayor Gray, will you support the DC food trucks?"
It's just Mayor Gray.
It's just Mayor Gray.
One
So,
word, no underscore, no.
so if everyone could tweet, "Hey, Mayor Gray, please pledge," yeah? Okay, can somebody independently confirm with
I will look.
Oh, yeah, you're right, that's the fake.
Mayor Vince Gray on Twitter? Tweet, "Hey, Mayor Vince Gray, please support DC food trucks. They are at your conference today. Hashtag DC food trucks." And if we all tweet that, not only will he notice, because he recorded a video to me during the campaign because I was harassing him about food trucks. He recorded a video, put it online. "Hey, Asher Huey, I know that you've been asking about food trucks. If you want to pay that much for a lobster roll, you can." I mean, and he said, "Yeah, I support food trucks." And I want to keep that pressure up on him, especially since the Restaurant Association is pushing really hard to restrict where they can be and when it's awful. Yeah.
The next day, Huey talked about how his experiment turned out.
When you have hundreds of people tweeting at someone. Yesterday, I had, during the panel, I worked for the DC Food Truck Association. I had everyone in my panel tweet at Mayor Vince Gray about food trucks. Well, he noticed. I actually spoke to him later that day. So
Some of the panelists brought up the political implications of social media activism, including the web-driven Obama campaign of 2008.
Howard Dean did a lot with social media earlier and really showed that you could raise money that way, you could reach an audience that way. But Barack Obama in 2008 clearly took it to a whole new level and was teaching everybody the possibilities for social media. And I expect them to do the same thing in 2012, to really have some advances that go beyond where everybody else is.
USA Today Washington Bureau Chief Susan Page looked not just at social media in Obama's 2008 campaign, but how it's been used by potential candidates this election cycle.
Well, if you look at the big Republican field, which is still being formed, I think you'd have to say Sarah Palin has been the smartest user of social media, because it's kept her in the public eye, it's made her part of the debate, and it enables her to make it a one-way conversation, so that she posts something on Facebook, the news media picks it up, covers it, writes about it, and she never has to actually answer a question from a reporter. So she has been, I think, very shrewd in her use of social media.
More locally, one candidate I was able to talk to about her campaign was Jessica Dharmawan, who took advantage of social media in her recent run for AU Student Government President.
We as students, we spend most of our week or day in Facebook and on Twitter, so why not target the audience, which is the students, where they most spend their time in. And that's why we made a Facebook page, did Facebook ads, did a Twitter account, and we also had a YouTube account to post our videos. And it's such a great way to connect with people and kind of showcase what you're all about and what you want to, what you want to run for. So definitely this is such a huge, great audience to reach out to.
Was it challenging to get across, since I know you had a lot of very detailed info on your platforms and things, while getting it across in a medium which is more designed for shorter types of messages and things?
That's why different, my Facebook page acted as a different purpose to my Twitter page, let's say, and my Facebook page was more comprehensive in that I could post my platform, my policy platforms, but Twitter was mostly just to direct people to my platform and maybe telling people when the next events are. So it's more shorter, it's more faster in a sense for people to read, and Facebook is more just for people to kind of really read through what I'm all about and what my policy was.
Awesome. Jessica Dharmawan, thank you so much.